in this era, I leave it because people are into all of that crap. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that was a bad mistake back then.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't allow myself to be photographed. I do everything hide, cover my face. Oh yeah, come with the camera. I'm out. All that crap. But
Mm-hmm.
now I need all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still gonna be a good doc. It's got a lot of information, a lot of information that people don't know, and about Chicago hip hop. And you're part of that history, bro. So I just wanted to call you and say, hey, look, we shooting on the 17th.
All right.
You just want to make yourself available. So do you want to be a part or no?
Yes.
Okay. So
Okay.
what I have to do is send you the itinerary, but I won't send it probably until that Saturday that I know that he on the plane.
Okay.
Yeah, when I know he on that plane, then we gonna put our guns, out. We'll put them all out there. You'll know what's going on, where we're gonna be, where we're gonna eat, all that stuff. So, and it'll be a crew of us. It'll be gang of us, man.
Okay.
It's gonna be about 10 or 11 people all together. And Tia be doing some filming. My brother's gonna be doing some filming. Sugar D gonna be doing some filming. It's gonna be a lot of people. Brian and them gonna be doing some filming for their podcast over there.
Mm-hmm.
So my name gonna get around quite a bit.
Cool.
Quite a bit during that time, because everybody wants to put that history together.
Cool.
Okay. And a lot of them do not know about you. That's what's going to freak them out.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that. All they know is you, the Dusty Man, the Midnight Storm, all this. They don't even know he was right there at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's going to crack them up. That's going to crack them up, man. Well, they just ain't got a clue.
Yeah.
They know what's going on. These young boys, man. I was listening to some history of Chicago hip hop on the internet. I'm cracking up. I'm like, yeah, man, how y'all gonna say it started with Twister of Common?
Mm-hmm.
Idiots. So, anyway, I just want you to be abreast, know what's going on.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
All right.
See if you can dig up anything to put up in the Mall of Fame, even if it's something that's current and you just got your picture around it, something. Give them something.
Okay.
All
right.
I'm out.
Later. Good evening and welcome to Bedtime Stories. I'm wondering, did the music play or did that conversation play that was going on? But anyway, big ups to Brother Jeff Watts, a.k.a. Dr. Groove, putting together a documentary, and I will be a part of it. The Hip Hop Museum. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that hip hop just didn't start with Kanye and Common, okay? At one time, I was a hip hop DJ. And before that, I was a house DJ and all sorts of things. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. It's Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, on WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WDLB Indianapolis in Chicago, as well as WRLNradio.com, a Ray Neal media station. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, as I said. And coming up in our last hour, do a little thing we call foreplay. 4 songs by one of your favorite artists or groups, male or female. And once again, that is in our last hour of Bedtime Stories Power. All right. Let's get, as the kids say, let's get it cracking. I think I just dated myself there for a minute. Anyway, gentleman used to start off his show with this song. And I think I'll do the same thing. His name, of course, Herbert Rogers Kent. His Saturday morning wake-up show started with this song. by the Memphis Horns, Just for Your Love, which features a very young Denise Williams. Just for your love, Dr. Sexy, yeah, right. Mm-mm. Dr. Old Guy, yes. That that old guy, yes. My my nephew calls himself the old school guy. I'm just the old guy. No school, just old. So, but thank you very much. Thank you. Whew. Give me a good old nap too. What's up, Lady G? Wow, it's still 80 degrees outside. Good grief. But I'm not complaining. Not complaining at all. So, how was you guys' day? Mine was good. It went quickly. Went a little too quickly. Went very quickly. And what can I say? Lady G said, I hate summertime. Well, I'm not a fan of winter. I'm good. I'm, you know, gonna be begging all this week because I started off my week. Normally, I start off my week with a pretty, pretty good amount of money in my account. Yeah. So, needless to say, the kids hit me up, and I started off my week with $1 in my account. How did that happen? Well, I have kids, so have children. So that's the deal. So I will be begging here and there, like I said, for the rest of the week, so I can get a sizable amount of money for breakfast, lunch, and of course gas, because I don't get paid until Friday from both of my gigs. So yeah, I kind of overextended myself. So that and genuinely being nice to others. So I kind of overextended myself. And my thing is, it's always, I'm always helping people. So now I need a handout. So whatever you guys can spare. As you can see at the bottom, it says Zelle. I no longer have Cash App. So whatever you all can spare, I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much in advance. So, yeah. So, I'm sure when Troy comes on, he's going to be like, okay, shake your can, blind man, and all that stuff. So, But once again, I overextended myself. So hopefully, you guys can help me out. I had to ask a coworker, and that just really, really hurt my heart because I never want them to know that I am, you know, you know. I saw, I made the mistake of seeing how much he made. I said, "Oh, he can afford to send me some money," but that's not always the case. So, but besides that, everything is fine. I went to work today, and everything was cool. So I'm hoping that you all will understand and you know send your donations. Donations. Somebody was supposed to buy a set of speakers, and he's he said 48 hours, and then he said, "Okay, I can give you some money on Friday." I'm like, what can I do but wait? And that's it. That's all I can do is wait. So that's it. That's all. I wish I could help, but I'm busted myself. Well, I understand. I mean, it's still after the first of the month, so a lot of us had to pay rent. Yeah, had to pay rent. Yep. My rent went from 500 to 900 and was it $960. When I moved here, it was $860, which was a stretch then, but 100 $160 more. I'm like, okay, but it's a two-bedroom apartment. It's huge, um, and that's about it. On Friday I get paid from both VON and BGX, so I should be straight. But today is only Monday, so I got to get to work. So, this is all a pile of crap. Al Banks hundreds and thousands of millions. See, I told you from his lucrative deal with Grubhub. See, I told you Troy was going to have something to say. Um, Grubhub pays quarterly. So every 3 months I get paid from Grubhub. And that month hasn't come yet. So every 3 months I get paid from Grubhub. And it's a reasonable amount of money, but it hasn't been deposited as of yet. So, but thank you for asking. Uh, but yeah, haven't gotten it yet. So my daughters and my rents went up too. Ooh. Yep. He was Marvin Gaye's right hand man. That is Leon Ware. He also did a little singing with the great Quincy Jones on the album Mellow Madness. That is right. Excuse me. Leon Ware right here on Bedtime Stories and rocking you eternally is what I want to say. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Yes, and it's time to pull out my tin can and put on my shades because as of today, when I went to work, I was like, I had just enough money to get coffee this morning and put gas in the car to get to work. So, for those of you who see that little ticker tape at the bottom where it says donations are welcome via Zelle, that's for real. That is absolutely for real. So, if anybody has any spare change, as we call it, I know it's still after the first of the month, but if you can, I would appreciate it. That way I can get it back and forth to work. this week and get to payday on Friday. Some of us live paycheck to paycheck. I live paychecks to paycheck. Yeah, yeah. It's a couple of them. And Troy asked me about the Grubhub thing. Well, he didn't ask, but he said I get millions. And yeah, right. Grubhub plays quarterly, and that money has not come in yet. So, of course, I've already emptied my change tray. So, yeah. Anyway, it's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time and one of the greatest singers of all time. This is Whitney Elizabeth Houston. Mm. He said, Coco, beware. Nope. Nope, not the Coco beware. Ooh, I got one person watching me on Twitch. Thank you so much. Shout out to Professor Tim Terry. He says that he listens to me. Tim, of course, does gospel. What a coincidence! I'm playing Whitney Houston, and there's Cherie Yvette Withers Banks, who is a tribute artist to Miss Whitney Houston. It's like she becomes Whitney. We don't have impersonators. We hate that word, impersonator. Like Rico Michael Jackson. He is a tribute artist to the great Michael Jackson. My brother from another mother, Greg Gibbs, he's a tribute artist. He pays tribute to Luther Vandross. He's not an imitator. He sounds like Luther when he sings. So anyway. So guys, like I said, I've been doing, work and stuff. I've been, trying to, stay above ground, but every now and then we fall short. So I have fallen short, but it's okay. Mr. Redmond. So, like I said, until I can make it till Friday, if you all could send me at least, I feel stupid doing this, at least $75 or $30 to get me through the week. I would really appreciate it through my Zelle, which is my phone number. AT&T meant to tell you all about this. AT&T called me the other day, and they said, Mr. Greer, we have overcharged you. To that, I said, no. I'm like, it seems like every other week you all are hitting me up, talking about you about to cut my service off. And each time, I paid that money. So they called me the other day and they said, we owe you a refund. Would you like a check or credit to your, to your account? I'm like, right now, you can send me a check. I really appreciate that. So, but anyway, once again, whatever you guys can spare. Mr. Redmond, I know you got me on Friday, so, I'm not too worried about that. It's just getting to Friday, getting back and forth to work. So, but otherwise, it was a pretty good day at work. It was a very good day. So, want to keep the momentum going. So, yes, tribute artist. Yes. Yeah, you are. That's what you are. not an imitator. It's like, I like Rich Little. You turn around and you're Whitney. No, you know. And I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, and you too, Troy. When Sherry, or Cherie as I call her, when she puts on these outfits, some of them are actual duplicates of the original outfits that Whitney wore. So, she's got the Whitney wigs. She's got all of that stuff. So, once again, she is not a imitator. She is or impersonator. Like you got Elvis impersonators. No, it's just a tribute to Whitney. And that's what she does. And I am proud to say that I put together some of her music tracks whenever she's performing. And the last performance we were at together, um, she did a great job. When she did I'm Every Woman, everybody everybody joined her on stage. It was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. And she usually wraps up with the I'm Every Woman. So every woman got up and was singing with her. And it was a real tearjerker. Lady G said, I see you're featuring the Spinners as the B-sides artists on WVON. I thought you might like that. I unfortunately I didn't include any Motown songs on there. Usually it's like Motown Monday, but with them being from Detroit, I figured that's enough. They were from Detroit. They recorded both in Detroit and Philadelphia. They recorded for Motown. They recorded for Atlantic. So I wanted to include some of their B-sides and album cuts, not and of course some of the remixes. So I didn't want to just do a regular spotlight that everybody else does, and they play you know, both sides of the 45s. How could I let you get away? And I'll be around, in that order. So I tried to put together, a fitting spotlight to a fitting group. So I hope they catch wind of that, because I remember doing something for the Manhattans. It was their anniversary, and in the anniversary, it was at Star Plaza, and I played some songs, not just the regular ones, Kiss and Say Goodbye, There's No Me Without You, Hurt. I played the older stuff, the Carnival stuff. Some of the older things. And I remember Wilfred Blue Lovett came over to me. He said, little brother, I don't know how old you are, but I don't remember some of that stuff. I was like, that's how I knew I was doing well. Because Blue Lovett came over to me with that deep voice of his. Little brother. I wish I had taped that. Him said it was so heartfelt. Little brother. He didn't know me from a can of paint, boy. Little brother. I don't remember some of that stuff. But it was just so cool. My heart stopped when he walked over to me. I was like, he gonna say something and shut me down or whatever. Like, you too young to remember that stuff. You weren't even born. That kind of, like, he was cool with it. But anyway, you're welcome, Lady G. I wanted to, do some of the stuff that, people forgot about, and some of the stuff that needed to be longer. Like Could It Be I'm Falling in Love needed to be a little bit longer, but all of their cuts were like 3 minutes, and 3.5 minutes. Um, I'll Be Around was like, you know, it was one of those songs that should have been longer. 3 minutes was just not enough. And then the A side, which was How Could I Let You Get Away? It's like that first album that the Spinners put out, it seemed like every cut on that album became a single. And some of them didn't become singles. They were just B-sides, like um, Don't Let the Green Grass Fool You, which was done in that same studio, but it was done by Wilson Pickett in a totally different arrangement. They jazzed it up, and it was great. Girl, try to remember when we didn't have no shoes. I mean, they rearranged it. It was crazy. Crazy. Two in a row from Whitney Houston. That is Dancing on the Smooth Edge right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Hello to Mr. Redmond, also to Cherie Yvette Withers Banks, who is a Whitney Houston tribute artist, Lady G, and of course to Trish. Thank you for being on my live. Of course, you all already got my message, right? Yeah. Zell. Tonight's word is Zell. Whatever you can send, I really appreciate it. Hey, Nicole, what's going on? Thank you for joining us here on Bedtime Stories. I'm going to tell you the same thing. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Brake shoes, that is. And a little gas as well. Here's the first of two in a row from the Montclairs. This is Dreaming Out of Season on Bedtime Stories. In my time. Yo, Nikki. Whoa, yo. What's up with you, Nikki? Thanks for being on my live. I appreciate it. Relaxing. Same here. Same here. Just chilling. Dinner, I had, I broke down and went to Checkers and got me a double, Troy, you nut. Um, got something from Checkers, a double fish sandwich. So, yep, that was it. That's all I could afford. That was a whole $8. But it was quite filling, especially the French fries and everything else. They've got the best fries. So it was all good in the hood. Matter of fact, I'm still burping up fish. Ooh, that sounded nasty, didn't it? Woo, Lord. But moving right along from my begging, yeah. Saturday, um, the Chosen Few house picnic, which was in off of Hayes Drive, which is now Chosen Few DJs Drive. I had a great time. Like I said in my video, if you watch me on Facebook, I said I wasn't going back because they'd start charging. Never say never. Um, because they started charging, now it's become a city event. It's no longer a private event. Well, not really private. It's not an event that goes on in Chicago the weekend of the 5th anymore. It belongs to the city now. And it has become bigger and better. It is probably one of the largest gatherings of people who just want to hear house music, who just want to reconnect with people that they hadn't seen in a while. It was just phenomenal. The stage, the little tents or canopies as they call them, it was awesome, to use a word. It was just absolutely awesome. Um, what can I say? Wayne, Jesse, the Hatchet Brothers, um, Kirk Townsend, everybody. It was great to see Jesse after he had had a massive stroke. It was great to see him stand up and receive his flowers while he could still smell them. Wayne and Jesse started the picnic way back in 1977, and they've been doing it ever since. Wayne Williams put out records under his moniker, Dr. Derelict. Jesse did a couple of records himself. Alan King, who works in City Hall, he also DJ'd. Mike Dunn, who was recently installed as one of the Chosen Few DJs because he didn't belong to either one of the groups, either the Chosen Few or the Hot Mix 5. It was great to see Farley there. Farley, and there's no competition, no animosity between those brothers. And the first thing that Farley said, he's like, "Did you see Jesse?" I said, "Yes, I saw Jesse." And I hung my head. And he said, "God's got him." And that's all, that's all I needed to hear. "Did you see Jesse?" "Yes, I did." Broke my heart. Jesse's the youngest one out of all of the group. He was like the Easy E of the group. So, but just wonderful. Remember several years ago at Josephine's, you played the extended version of "Could It Be I'm Falling in Love," either the Tom Moulton or the Mike Mario mix. Love it. And that's what you'll be hearing tonight. Those mixes, "Could It Be I'm Falling in Love" and "I'll Be Around." Those are the first two. 2 in a row from Phil Perry and the Montclairs make up for "Lost Time" and "Dreaming Out of Seasons" right here on Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Hello to Nikki. Thank you for being on my live as always. I really appreciate you. I really do. Tonight, for those of you who will be up after midnight after I'm done here with bedtime stories. Um, I'll be doing, of course, the B-sides on WVON. And tonight's tribute artist is, or spotlight artist, I should say, are the Spinners, which is Lady G's favorite group. She was saying several cuts on that first album had number ones. I'll Be Around, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love, One of a Kind, Ghetto Child. She said, I used to play that album till the grooves turned gray. And, it's interesting because not too many people have a debut album on a new label and have all of those cuts on it. Everything off of that first album was a jam. Every one was a single, and every single went gold just from the first album. It's kind of like with Heatwave. Their first album was Too Hot to Handle. Well, on that first album was Too Hot to Handle, Ain't No Half Steppin', Boogie Nights, Always and Forever, Show Enough Must Be Love. That was just the first album. With the Spinners, I'll Be Around, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love, One of a Kind, Love Affair, and Ghetto Child. That was just the first album on Atlantic in 1972. And that propelled them to superstardom. Something that Motown could never do for them and make them household words or names. So I might play some Spinners later on. Give you a preview of what I'll be playing tonight on 1690 WVON at midnight via the iHeart Radio app. Excuse me if I'm choking up a little bit. Here's the great Gladys Knight and the Pips. You're the best thing that ever happened to moi on Bedtime Stories. Ooh, I thought I saw some money wrapped up in that receipt. Mm-mm. Yep. It seemed like every intro of all of they never, got a Grammy for none of those singles albums. Yeah, that's what's so sad. But if you listen to the introductions to all of those songs, the introductions were like, they would grab you. Like, I'll Be Around. When you hear that, on a down, 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 it would grab you right away. Could it be I'm Falling in Love? That Earl Young drum introduction, or How Could I Let You Get Away? Do, 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 do. I mean, and then the next album, the Mighty Love album, it was like the intros would grab you before they even started singing. Dun, 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 dun. It just like, oh my God, what's about to happen? It's not like a movie or something. Dun, dun, dun. And the duo of Earl Young and Charles Collins playing in tangent with each other. It's like, and yeah, you're right. They never got a Grammy, but they churned out some of the best albums. The Spinners album, Mighty Love, New and Improved, Pick of the Litter. It was just like, take that, Like, as soon as you turn around, he hitting you with another one. Yep. Mighty Love, please. And Tom Bell took that group as far as he could. And he let them go. That was the worst thing they could have done. Not only did they lose Tom Bell, they also lost Felipe. Felipe thought that he could go solo and that he would be well received, like a Lionel Richie. And unfortunately, no. So he ended up going back to his hometown of Cincinnati and rejoining the group that he played with in the first place, which was the Pacemakers, which featured Bootsy Collins and his brother Phelps. So he went back to them, and then he was no more. Had a massive heart attack on stage while singing Sadie. Yep. Yeah, yeah. And then tragedy struck because their manager, Henry Allen, he said, man, if you leave the Spinners, they might as well just hang up their shiny suits. He said, you're nothing without the Spinners, and the Spinners are nothing without you. He said, well, you still got Bobby Smith. Bobby, not to take anything away from Bobby, Bobby is a great singer. Absolutely, hands down. He carried I'll Be There all by himself. But the big hits came, when they did, stuff like Mighty Love and, I'm Coming Home. Those were all Felipe. That was his, I guess you could say, his spotlight, the original song, I'm Coming Home, was done by Johnny Mathis. Can you believe that? Johnny Mathis's version sounds absolutely nothing like Felipe's soul version. Johnny was like sitting in the railroad station with my suitcase in my hand, going back where I came from. I've done more than I could stand. Felipe was like, give me that mic. Give me that mic. Sitting in a railroad station with my suitcase in my hand, going back where I came from. I've done more than I can stand. I'm like, whoa, those songs don't even match. It's like, okay, Teddy Pendergrass did a version of Life is a Song Worth Singing. The original, of course, was done by, you guessed it, Johnny Mathis. But Teddy got a hold of it. He said, you don't like the way you're living? Too bad. So, yeah, Bobby was the lead on Truly Yours. That's What Girls Are Made For. And I'll always love you, baby. And they all had that Motown groove. But it wasn't until, are you sure it was Johnny Mathis? I think it was Curtis Mathis. No. And it was like Felipe had a way with phrasing. He could ad lib with the best of them. And, once again, like their manager said, you're nothing without the Spinners, and the Spinners aren't anything without you. I mean, John Edwards was good, but John was no match for Felipe. He was a big guy with a big afro, but he was not Felipe. No way. There's one for you, Troy. Maria Muldaur, her only big hit, Midnight at the Oasis. And then that was it. She never had a follow-up song to that one. A lot of people, they have a follow-up for these particular, songs, They did one and it sounded like another one. And it sounded like that. It was always in the same vein. But unfortunately, Maria was never able to achieve the same success she did with that one song. And it will go down in history as one of the greatest one hit wonders of all time. Maria Muldaur and Midnight at the Oasis. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. And footnote to that, it was played on all stations. They didn't know if she was white, black, or whatever. It was just a good song to be played on black and white radio, whatever that means. But that was it. Midnight at the Oasis. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. So I was saying earlier off the air, tonight on the B-sides with yours truly, Al Greer, on 1690 WVON, we pay tribute to the Spinners. Um, Lady G, of course, is a big fan of the Spinners. She was saying that Edward Chico Edwards, George Dixon, and G.C. Cameron were lead singers and backup singers for the Spinners. But it seemed like in 1972 their career took off once again after they left Motown. Unfortunately, Motown didn't know what to do with them, so they became, I guess, they became doormen, they became chauffeurs, they became babysitters for the Jackson Five, just to be on payroll at Motown until 1970 when Stevie Wonder wrote "It's a Shame" and handed it to G.C. Cameron, and he just eloquently just took it to church. Unfortunately, he stayed back at Motown, and they picked up Felipe Win, which was a great win for the Spinners. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, just reminiscing about some of this music that we play here on Bedtime Stories. This guy was a two-hit wonder. This one and Ain't Loving You for More Reasons Than One. Recorded on the Coco label, which was a subsidiary of Stax, which features members of the Stax rhythm section. Here's Luther Ingram, If Loving You Is Wrong. I don't want to be right. Worked in the shipping department, picked up the Jackson 5 in the station wagon. They sure did. Ronnie, what's up? Said I got you by my side. I don't care what your people say. Loving a married man. Marred man. It's marred. Ronnie. Mm, 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 mm. In love with you. To a married man. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. Cleaning and packing. Ooh, sounds good. The cleaning and packing part, yeah. Woo. It seems like the summer is just going by quickly. Here it is already July. So, and then comes August, and then yeah, it's pretty much a done deal. It's downhill from there. Yep. Then we're back in snow boots. Back to snow boots and coats and everything else. Yep. Mama said, don't leave your house dirty when you're going out of town. I know that's right. I hear you. Mama knew that Luther Ingram was gay and that song was for a side man. Oh, maybe you did. You knew. Yeah, I knew he was. I mean, look at his hairstyle. His hair was coiffed. It looked like a it looked like a Diana Ross Supreme's wig. You know. Mm-mm. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. You didn't know that, Ronnie? Yep, the original Luther was gay too, as I call him, the original Luther. Mhm. Yep. If you look back at him and his performance at Watt Stacks, there is nothing masculine about Hillary. Nothing. Yep. And of course, a lot of people didn't know that about him. Ooh, a lot of people call while I was asleep, boy. Hey, Angie, you call? Oh, okay. Because that was, that's all right. Bye bye. She didn't mean to call me. Okay. All right. Got a whole bunch of butt dials while I was asleep. He had the Ike Turner bob, Caesar cut. Yeah, I know, right? Ooh, my Uncle Ron is going to be mad at me. I didn't make it to his picnic that he was DJing on Saturday because I got stuck at the Chosen Few picnic. I was trying to leave, but every time I tried to leave, I saw somebody else on there. You're like, next thing I know, here comes Robin Robinson. Oh, here comes Matt McGill. Here comes the mayor. Here comes, Teresa Griffin. So yeah, it was like that. So yep, just some of everybody that I hadn't seen in a while, especially Teresa. You know, I call him the original Luther. That is Luther Ingram, loving you for more reasons than one. Right here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Hello to Ronnie, also to uh, Nikki, wherever she is. Thank you for checking in, as well as Professor Tim Terry, who does a show at WBGX, which I produce on Sundays, along with DJ Preacher at 8 o'clock. Check them out, all right? 1570 AM. And of course, they have their own app now. Yeah, they got their own app. They're also still heard on TuneIn as well. So check out that show. It's an hour of some of the greatest gospel music of all time on 1570 AM. And of course, the TuneIn app. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, with the maestro, Barry White. You better beware. Mm-hmm. Talk. Walk. I'm trying to preserve my armband from the chosen few. I can't get it off and I don't want to cut it. They've got some kind of clasp on there. Just I can't get it off. You know. And I don't want to ruin it. I think, I might want to keep it, I think I might want to keep it. But I can't get it. Yeah. But you said, why? I just want to. It's a souvenir, a memento. I'm sure they'll be different next year, But they're not the usual ones, which are like made out of paper or whatever. Those paper armbands, wristbands, or whatever. This one's actually made out of some kind of cloth material, and I don't want to, I don't want to tear it up, and I don't want to ask them for another one because I'm sure they have, some left over. But maybe if I, bash the clasp that because, and I don't want to, don't want to mess it up. I just don't. But I can't keep wearing it, taking a shower and stuff, and oh well. I'll have to, bust the clasp. Whoever thought of this was a genius, I tell you, because I can't get this sucker off. I just can't. That was a monumental gathering. We're talking like generations of people, people who, went out back in the past to all of the house music clubs, the warehouse, the playground, the loft, the Charlie Club, all those places, that all those places that fine house music was played. So, yeah. And there were no incidents. They had cops and security guards and everything else, which they really didn't need. Everybody was it was all about love, All right, Lady G. Have a good night. Sleep tight. Don't let Dracula bite. Phyllis, what's going on, Phyllis? I'm gonna tell you like I'm telling everybody else, Phyllis. I'm looking for donations tonight because, I want to be able to make it to work this week, so I can get through the week. So I'm asking everybody for donations tonight. So, yeah. So if you can, I'll really appreciate it. If you can't, I understand. So, yeah, just trying to put a little gas in the car and get back and forth to work and eat my little noodles, which is like a $2 a day habit. So that's it. That's my meal for the, for lunch. So if you can, 20, 30, whatever you can spare, I should say. But thank you in advance, Phyllis. I appreciate it. And It goes to my Zelle account. You know, I'm like a preacher. I don't get a salary. Hey, Pam. Hola. Mm, 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 mm. I didn't even get a chance to introduce it. Grubhub is a proud sponsor of Bedtime Stories here on WOSD Radio DB Chicago. They're home for old school and dusties, as well as WRLNradio.com. And of course, Biggs Radio as well. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories. Hello to Phyllis and to Pam, the two P's. Thank you so much. Two peas in a pie. I just want to know. I don't know if Pamela was working this Saturday. I was wondering how many people she escorted to the house music picnic for the chosen few. Uh, Pat said I tried to cash out just now, rejected. Cash App cut me off, Pam. Pat, I'm sorry. So I'm just using my Zelle account to get a little scratch so it can last me throughout the week. But I appreciate it. Yeah. I don't know what happened with Cash App. They called me and asked me, would I like to continue my account? And I was like, yes. And then they hung up on me. And that was it. But thank you, Pam. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Ronnie. And thank you, Phyllis. I appreciate you all. You're the Isley Brothers. You're beside me. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Company's gone. Baby. Oh, baby. Yeah. Yeah. Breathe. Boy, let me tell you about my daughter. Don't ever hang up on her. So I hung up on my daughter, right? I ain't like what she was saying to me. My daughter, I hung up on her. Within 10 minutes, she was at the radio station. Don't you hang up on me. I'm like, ooh, boy. Just like your mama. We kissed and made up though. And I promised to never hang up on her. First, she didn't believe me. She said, your apology's not sincere. I'm like, you think you know me? Well, yeah, she does. So when I saw a car pull up, I was one of my coworkers said, "You expecting company?" I looked up at the camera, right, the monitor. I said, "Oh, that's my daughter." And that was it. So I promise I will never hang up on you, especially when she's evangelizing. She was preaching to me, and I was like, I didn't want to hear it. I'm like, I've been to church already. I don't want to. She got me. She got me. She cornered me at work, so it was nowhere I could run to. So that was it. So uh, So once again, I apologize. She came to my job with the baby. Said, your pawpaw about to get cussed out and prayed for all in once. I was like, okay. It wasn't like I could leave work and go home. It was like, okay, you got me. All right. She said my job was done then. Yeah, her job was definitely done then. So I gave her the biggest hug and kiss because it was like, when your children preach to you, it's like, I don't want to hear that. I'm the parent, but every now and then we have to listen to what our children say to us, because they have wisdom too. You know, they may do stuff backhanded, sneaky, whatever. But at the end of the day, we were backhanded and sneaky at one time as well. So, and anything that they have learned from us, now it's like it's time to, turn the tables. And Brianna definitely turned the tables on me, and that's it. And I'll let her know, how I felt, and she let me know how I felt, and I let her talk. Sometimes you just have to sit down and let your children do the talking, and that was it. So. So, that's right, all God. So I had to listen, you know, and every now and then we can learn something from our children because of what we have taught them. Be like, remember when you said, like, oh, she said, I take no credit. I know you. I know you're just. God was just using you because your voice changed. It's like, ooh, she sound like Elder Lisa Cannon there for a minute there. So what up, Greg Beasley? But thank you to my daughter. She knows how I feel about a mother, and that's enough. She knows, and that's it. And God knows. So yeah, him know. Greg, what's going on, man? I don't know if you've heard, but our good friend, I don't know how good of friends we are. Jamie Foxx was spotted on a boat here in Chicago as he waved to people. Was that really Jamie Foxx, though? Do we know for sure if that was Jamie Foxx? It was from far away. So he told me if I told y'all, he'd lie. I know, right? But Jamie Foxx was spotted over the weekend on a boat, and he waved to people. So we're just assuming that was Jamie Foxx because it was so far away. So we don't know if that was him or if it, because he had a stand-in to finish the movie that he did. So some people didn't think about that, but you know. But dude needs to hold a press conference and let people know what happened to him. And I'm sure he will in time. I'm sure he will. But right now, you know, he's doing his thing, How he felt about my mom. Yeah. Right. He told me if I told y'all y'all he'd lie. Yeah, you absolutely right. I ain't say that. He said he was coming here for physical therapy anyway. Yeah, and that's it. So big ups to Jamie Foxx, who's here in Chicago, you know. And we may never know until he does that press conference what actually happened to him, because people were saying the worst about him. They said he took a COVID shot and he had a bad reaction to it, and he was blind and paralyzed. Um, you know, some people went as far as saying that he was dead already. So, yeah, all kind of rumors floating out. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they said he couldn't speak, he couldn't walk, he couldn't see, you know, and it's really sad. It's really sad that we have come to our own conclusions or made up our own stories. Nick Cannon said he spoke to him or text him or whatever. And a lot of people said that they got in contact with him. I believe his daughter is the only person who has had contact with him, and that's it. But I'm really, because I watch Ray every time, every chance I get, I watch Ray. I watched it over the weekend once again. I watched it over the weekend, and he just poison had Puffy had him poisoned. He had a heart attack, a brain aneurysm. He had a bad reaction to a COVID shot. Yeah, why would Puffy poison him? Puffy? What beef does he have with Puffy? What? So they got the same dentist. Is that what you know? So and I hate to mention it. A lot of people say it may have had a lot to do with the Illuminati. I don't know. Trish said I watch Ray at least once a week. Well, yeah, you do. But anyway, and it's one of my favorite biopics because towards the end of the movie, when Jamie takes off the shades, it's like, wait a minute, that's Jamie Foxx. And I saw the show, I saw it at the movie. And the part where, he gets over the drugs and everything else and he takes the shades off. I said, wait a minute, that's Jamie Foxx. So at that point, he was just so convincing as Ray. I mean, he had Ray's walk down and everything. I mean, it was just, and it didn't hurt that he did the whole movie actually blind. They glued his eyelids shut so that he could experience what Ray was experiencing, which meant, he had to memorize his lines. They're like, I lied, so hey. The OJs, and let me make love to you. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, wishing Eddie Levert a happy birthday. Eddie made Ooh, good Lord. 83 today, I think. Yeah, I had the opportunity to talk to Eddie Levert a few weeks ago. And it was, more than just an interview. It was just a conversation between, two people. And I really appreciate it. And I saved that information, and it was just, or saved the interview. But he had been interviewed several times that day, but I think mine was the last. And I think mine had a little validity to it because, not only was I a fan, but a music historian. And I knew their background, as the Triumphs and the Mascots. So I went way back. But once again, happy birthday to Eddie Levert, who made, I believe, 83 today. We're gonna play some more OJ's music later on, right here on Bedtime Stories. But right now, it's Freddie Jackson and "Love Me Down, Baby" on Bedtime Stories. Thank you, Pat. Yeah. Is he still in the shy in rehab, or has he left? No, actually, he's still here. As a matter of fact, they spotted him the other day on Lake Michigan in a boat. So people have been watching to see, where he is and how he's doing and everything else. So yeah. So but it is it is a great thing to see him out and about to kill some of those rumors saying that he's dead. He's just, I guess, taking a staycation from Hollywood. Well deserved. He's been working on several movies, so this was just, I guess, a wake up call for him to just, you know, sat down and get some rest. And of course, he was doing rehab here in Chicago. So yeah, I met Eddie many years ago at his Sounds of Cleveland record label offices on Miles Avenue in Cleveland. Nice guy. Nice guy. Yeah, those words I tell you, because before before I started recording, I said, you know, sir, are you up for another interview? He said, man, I'm sitting down. It's like I'm sitting down, we having a conversation. I ain't up on stage jumping around. He said, I said, okay. I said, thank you. And once I stopped the recording, I thanked him again. I said, God bless you. You know, excuse me for fanning out, because when I started the interview, it was like, oh my God, I'm talking to Eddie Lamar. I was totally, you know, I was totally out of it. I couldn't get it together. It was like blah, 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 I. And then he put me at ease. I said, I don't know about them other guys that interviewed you earlier, but I go back to, you know, lipstick traces and, you know, and let it all out and all. He said, oh man. He said, I wrote Lonely Drifter. I was like, wow, I did not know that. He said, I wrote Lonely Drifter. So there ain't no water nowhere near Cleveland, Ohio, or Toledo. He said, but I wrote that song. I was like, man, thank you. Thank you. thank you so much for years of performing, years of this great music. Um, Atiba asked him a real, you know, cool question. And I wanted to ask him again, but I'd already known the answer for it. So I didn't want to repeat the question. But the question that was asked of him, what was the song that you hated the most? And he said, the song, You're My Favorite Person. He said, it sounded like some Broadway ish. I was like, oh, he did not like that song. I said, I understand. I understand. But it was a good, it made for a good stepper song, but he didn't like the intro to it, you know. And I guess the singing in unison reminded them too much of Broadway. So it's like, I didn't like this, that Broadway ish. Like, oh, okay. You know, out of all the women in the world, you're my favorite girl. I was like, what was wrong with that one? He said, I just didn't, he didn't like the arrangement. And, you know, it's like, okay. But all of their signature songs, you know, Love Train, Backstabbers, loving you has made my life much sweeter, baby. I mean, nobody, nobody could recreate those songs but them. Nobody. And to that, um, you know, big ups to you, Eddie Levert. You know, he even gave kudos to his partner for years, and that was Walter Williams. He said, he said, Walter's a great singer. Hey, Latanya, Hollywood, what's going on? He said, he gave kudos to Walter Williams. He said, Walter, you know, he said, Walter's a great singer. He said, he said, I had to keep going because I didn't want to get, I didn't want him to show me out. I'm like, wow, how cool is that? You know, I mean, some singers, some groups, they break up. They break up. Ego rears its ugly head, and it's like, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. But they put their differences aside, and they decided to keep recording and keep touring for the fans. He said, he loves Chicago. He said as long as they keep coming to the concerts, he was going to sing as long as he could. He said, but it like Bobby Womack says in this song, it's like contracts and all of this stuff, and it takes away from the joy of performing on stage in front of a audience that truly loves you. I mean, you could feel the love in the room. There was, Eddie stood up at one point. He, basically he sits and sings on a stool, and the other two, flank him on either side. But there was one point he got up, and it was like when he got up, they started cheering like we were at a baseball game. They were like, ah, you could hear, you know, But he was feeling it. He sat his butt back down on that chair, and he sang all the songs. He was a little raspy or whatever, but you can't beat it. He's an original member. Him and Walter are holding the torch for you know uh, for William Massey, for Bill Isles, Um, what's the other one? I can't think of his name right now. But they're holding the banner for the other guys that are no longer with us. And I do believe once one of them dies, I think that'll just be the end of the OJs. They won't continue. Walter won't continue without Eddie, and Eddie won't continue without Walter. So, by request, the OJs, and help somebody, please help me, please. Thank you, Phyllis, for the information. She said Eddie turned 82 today. I thought it was 83. I was close. He turned 82 years old today. God bless Eddie Levert of the OJs. I saw them at the Horseshoe Casino, and I tell you, it was a great show. At one point, he stood up. He got off that stool, and he stood up, and he went for it. He was feeling it. And then he said, let me sit my old butt back down. But the crowd was cheering for him because I guess they knew he was up in age. He and Walter are the only remaining members of the OJs. And I think if one of them died, I don't think they would replace Eddie. I don't think they can replace Walter. Now, William Powell and the rest of them have been replaced several times. William Powell was replaced by Sammy Strain, Eric Nolan Grant. But I think after this, they'll probably hang up their dancing shoes. Yeah. Won't that be a job well done for either one of them? By request, the OJs once again. And this is Cry Together on Bedtime Stories. The guy from my church sings exactly like Eddie Levert. Well, we need to get him and have him, have him on standby just in case. We need to have him on standby, because we don't know what's going to happen, what the future is going to bring. So, yeah, put him in touch with me, because if Eddie kicks the bucket, then we want to bring old boy in. Anyway, I'm just saying, we got to put our soul singers in bubble wrap. Because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. Yep, Eddie Levert, age 81, born June 16th. Thank you, Trish. Yep. Edward Willis Levert. Thank you for that information. I saw at the bottom it said that he had passed. I'm like, I hope that's not the case. The same way Google did Luther and Master P. Calvin Taylor is his name. Okay. Yeah, put Calvin in touch with me. I want to hear this guy. I want to hear what he sounds like. Not dead. There were rumors of his passing due to health issues, but these rumors are false. Eddie Levert is very much alive. Did Eddie have a heart attack? No. Yep, he's very much alive. Now, both of Eddie's sons passed. Both Gerald and Sean passed, but Eddie is still alive, uh, very much alive. Calvin would be in line to head up an OJ's tribute group, and that would be great. Once again, now put me in touch with this Calvin Taylor, because I will personally put this group together myself. You know. Now all we have to do is find somebody who sounds like Walter. You know, if we could get somebody to sound like Walter, we got something going on. We can always find the third guy, but we got to find this Calvin Taylor. We got him, and then we need a sweet sounding, yeah. Walter Williams. Yeah, I couldn't think of his name. If it's not on if it's not on channels 257, 9 or Telemundo, I wouldn't believe it. Get out of my head, Trish. I say that all the time. It's like, yep, it was on 2579 and Telemundo. It was in Spanish. El Singer of El OJs, El Eddie El Levert. It's like, nah, he ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere. Mm-mm. But our soul singers are going at an alarming rate. They're just passing, at an alarming rate. Um, and it's scary. It's like, Lady G is always she's always joking about putting our soul singers in bubble wrap. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, put them in bubble wrap and on ice. Some of the greatest soul singers of all time, I tell you. There's only one Shilite left, and that's Uncle Marshall. Out of the lineup of the Dramatics, it's only LJ. And Ray Goodman and Brown is just Brown. So, a lot of them have left us. So yeah, we're putting bubble wrap around them. They are, like I said, they are our. I know Father Time is undefeated. Some of the greatest of all time. Freeze them like in Black Lightning. I know, right? Her and I love Black Lightning. I got to tell you, Black Lightning is like, it is great. It is a great show. And it has a mostly black cast, which makes it even better. How many Pointer Sisters are left? Same question. The emotions. Um, they're all still alive. The only thing is Sheila's had some health problems. I think Sheila had um, she had a stroke, so Sheila's not performing with them. So it's Wanda and I think their daughters. Pam, of course, passed about 5 years ago. She was singing right out of high school with them. Assalamu alaikum, my brother. Peace be unto you as well. You're welcome. I'm glad you. Um, I'm glad you saw that. I really am. I'm glad you did, and I'm glad I could hold the camera as long as I did, or the phone, I should say. And I'm glad nobody called me during that time. But something just came over me, and I said, "Let me put this on Facebook." And I'm glad you enjoyed it. You know, I really do. And I had a ball doing it. You know, um, big ups to Theo Huff, Samada Ackland, who's act that I heard her, but I didn't actually see her until she was done. Um, but the first time I heard Theo sing, you're welcome, sir. Wassalamualaikum salam. You are so welcome. Um, like I said, I had a ball doing it, you know. And then the next day I had to hold my camera once again at church. So, but it was all good. They would have put him on ice to do that. And he heard about the rapper named Tracy Morrow. He's the real deal from the streets, and I bet he'll never sell out to play a cop on TV or sell car warranties. Man, you leave Ice T alone, okay? You got to pay bills, man. You got to keep his wife looking good. he got he got to keep his wife looking, in tip top condition. You got to look up under her hood and everything else. Have you seen Ice T's wife? Oh my God! I think she has to have yearly maintenance to keep her butt looking. Yeah, I'm like, wow. She is what can I say? She's a marvel. She is definitely a marvel. She was on one of his album covers, and I was like, man, that's a bad white girl. DOJ's and Fading right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind. Where we put you to bed, but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Troy was like, has anybody heard of this rapper named Tracy Morrow? He's the real deal from the streets, and I bet he'll never sell out to play a cop on TV or sell car warranties. Yeah, right. Ice T got to play to pay the bills. Whether and you forgot he was in a barbershop commercial with one of the wrestlers as well. So yeah, I remember he came to Chicago. It was like some 20 years ago, and they had the Players Ball over at the East of the Rhine, and he was there. along with Bishop Magic Wand and Mr. White Folks and all of these people. I was like, I was amazed. I was truly amazed. What was I doing at the? What was I doing there? I don't know. Yeah, made a wrong turn somewhere. I didn't know it was a players' ball. I thought, had something to do with basketball. What did I know, right? And that night they were taping the movie Pimps Up Hoes Down, and I may have been in there. I don't know. I got to look back at the movie anyway. Greg Beasley said, "I don't know how she keeps her balance." It's like that's it. She has to have, you know, yearly maintenance to keep her from tipping over, either backwards or forwards. It's Marcus Miller. How does she keep her balance? I don't know. Is the East of the Rhine still open? Yes. But it's not the same as it was back in the day. I remember they used to have shows there back when it was called the either the Colonial House or Purvis House, which is what it was called. It was owned by Purvis Staples. Speaking of which, today is Mavis's birthday. So yeah, DJ Carl Dobbins, just the man I wanted to see. You know, he said, I know you're gonna turn me down, but I need some gas money this week and some lunch money. So I know I'm good for it, right? No, okay. Because some people say that Tracy Morrow's real name is Lipton. Others claim it's Snapple. I believe his name is Tom, and certainly someone's uncle. Anyway. Okay, Troy. Woo boy. But anyway. Yeah, if you could send your old uncle a few bucks to get back and forth to work, that would be nice. Yeah. Tony is coming to Chicago, to the Chicago Theater in October. Looking forward to that one because they have not been together officially for years. They kind of broke up, and that should be a great show. You know, that should be a really great show. They've gotten back together, the original um, brothers and a cousin. What is his name? Uh, Timothy Christian, Raphael Sadiq, of course, whose real name is Charlie Charlie Ray Wiggins, and his brother Dwayne Wiggins. It's a reunion tour. It should be great. That should be fantastic. Tickets go on sale at Ticketmaster. Remember Ticketmaster 5591212. Yeah, they have an excellent catalog of music, and it's funny because um, I did a spotlight on them one night on VON, and I didn't realize how many songs that they had that I remember. They were their music was featured in the house party movies and everything. I'm like, okay. What I was trying to do is put together a spotlight on Full Force. If they haven't yet, you know, done a unsung on Full Force, that they should. I think they did already, but um, they are a great group as well. They were they were hotter as producers than they were as performers. So but yeah, talk about a you know, great catalog of music. Tony, um, all of them. Full Force, they all came out of that New Jack Swing era. You know, just great catalog, both of them. And if you remember all the videos that Tony had, you know, they had Sinbad in their videos. Sinbad was Little Walter, you know, but they were great back then. They were, you know, and you don't hear much about them anymore. They all became born again Christians. As a matter of fact, Bow-legged Lou, whose real name is Lucian George Jr., they are all the sons of a pastor. So I guess after they shaved off those Jerry curls, they went back to church. You know, it's always good to go back home. Especially if your music ain't selling. It's like, okay, we need to reinvent ourselves, and they do, and they do. I heard Sinbad had a stroke and is in rehab, learning how to walk again. Yes, he is. Yep, yep. Hmm, all of our heroes are fallen. Yep. Yeah, but yeah, he had to. As a matter of fact, I saw some of the videos with him in there. His real name is David Atkins, I think it is. But yep, back in rehab, or back and forth to rehab, I should say. Whoa. Yep. Old Sinbad. Mr. Star Search himself, because he won so many times on Star Search, it wasn't funny. I can't get this thing off without breaking it. And all it's doing is getting tighter. It's getting tighter. Yeah, I'm so glad I took folks to see Sinbad at the Chicago Theater. I saw Robin Harris the last night that he performed, which was at the Airy Crown. Robin Harris, remember him? Funny comedian. Yeah, and he passed. I was like, wow. Trish. Norman Connor is featuring Eleanor Mills. That is, This Is Your Life, right here on Bedtime Stories. On this radio station here, we were talking about some of the last people that we saw. Lawana said she said I'm glad I took the folks to see Sinbad at the Chicago Theater. He was here last in Chicago. And I saw Robin Harris the last night that he was here. I remember he was at the Erie Crown Theater, and we went home that night. I was still with my girl Karen, and we went home that night. We turned the TV on. They said, popular comedian Robin Harris died tonight. I'm like, well, when they say a comedian dies, that means, he wasn't funny. No, he died for real. I was like, wow, we just saw him. And said he had a massive heart attack, and that was it. But he was so funny. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. This group is doing a reunion tour. They have not performed together in years. They've been doing solo acts and producing other uh, acts, but they're back together. We're talking about Tony, Tony, Tony. Tell me. They tell me it never rains in Southern California. This thing is just getting tighter. Cut off my circulation of my crazy self. Whoever thought of this once again was a genius, I tell you. That show can't get it off. At some point, I'm just going to have to break it to get it off of me. And I have nothing heavy here to slam it with. It's like without breaking my wrist or my teeth, what's left of them. Should call Wayne. I'm like, how do you get these bracelet thingies off? No, I don't want to do that either. I break my teeth on camera. That'll be it. Ah, ah. Cut it with nail clippers. Okay. Because I don't want to ruin it. Oh, well, I'll worry about it later. if I don't, if my circulation doesn't cut off first. Excuse me, let me go to the bathroom. Ah, I'm back. This dastardly bracelet. Yes. And I don't want to go back to work with this thing still on. Chef Greg, what's going on, brother? Mr. Dorsey came down to my job the other day. I was like, I introduced him to everybody. I showed him the studio that I do my work in and all of that stuff. I was real proud of that. I was real proud. You know, like this is what I do, sir. It's not much money, but speaking of money, I'm accepting donations tonight via the Zelle app. Because yeah, my brother's got to eat, brother's got to put gas in his car, all of that stuff. So my Zelle is my phone number, Chef Greg. And I know you had some gigs over the weekend, so you made a little extra money. So I know you're on a fixed income, so which is none of my business because one of these days I'm gonna be on a fixed income. So that's it. Wait a minute, I think it's loosening up. Either that or the circulation is totally cut off my my wrists. So die for a wristband, I tell you. But anyway, Chef Greg, I thank you. Thank you for coming down to my job and of course returning my microphone that I miss so much. I miss that old microphone. Let me tell you the story about that mic. I found it on this website called Offer Up. Is there a steak knife around? No, I got the fingernail clippers. So yeah, but I'm good. I'll work on it tonight before I go to bed. Yeah. I don't want to slip up on the air and slit my own wrist. That wouldn't be good at all. That would not be a that would not be a good look at all. It's like, ooh, look at that. Look at the blood squirting out of Mr. Greer's arm. Mm-mm. Would not be good at all. not, not a good look. You know, not a good look. Turn the steak knife away from your wrist. You're, it's either I'm gonna cut my wrist or I'm gonna stab myself. I'm clumsy, Lawana. I am clumsy. I trip over my own feet. I am clumsy. I will either stab myself in the chest or slit my own wrist. So I'm going to try the fingernail clipper idea. Or I just keep working with it. It seems like it's loosening up. I said you had to stop by the cigar store in the area. I know, right? Well, there goes my donation right there. I'm sure you're smoking on it right now. So, and I don't blame you because I am also a cigar aficionado. So, yeah, let's stick with the nail clippers. Thank you. Yeah, but Chef Greg, thanks again, brother. Thanks again. Ugh. Anyway, If I just hit it once with a hammer, but then I will miss, it mess up my arm. Mm-mm. Let it line. Let, boom, boom, boom. Coming to coming to the Chicago Theater, Tony. Lay your head on my pillow. The reunion tour. I can't wait for that. Hopefully, I can get some tickets for it. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep. The greatest love songs of all time. We're sponsored by our good friends over at Grubhub. Y'all owe me some money. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Grubhub is a proud sponsor of Bedtime Stories here on WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WDLB Indianapolis in Chicago, and of course, WRLNradio.com, a Ray Neal media station. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. It is time for foreplay. He was born on July 7th, 1951. He made his transition July 19th, 2022. He was known for his work with Miles Davis earlier, fusion albums, also a series of R&B hits. As a 13-year-old, he played in Detroit. As a matter of fact, he was a bassist who was like not a funk brother, but he was part of the Funk Brothers. He played behind the Dramatics. He also co-wrote their hit song, Be My Girl. He also did some solo work as well as duets with Phyllis Hyman. They were born a day apart. Yep. And used to have fights in the studio. Boy, I tell you. But the result was some great music. They both made their debut on the album You Are My Starship by Norman Connors. By now, I guess you know who I'm talking about, right? Yes, you do. The great Michael Henderson. This was his first big hit, which was not his hit, but he wrote the song and performed it on the album You Are My Starship by Norman Connors. Tonight, we feature in the spotlight Mr. Michael Earl Henderson. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I have to go on. Lawana. Hey. Dun, 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 dun. any way you want to. Ooh, till my tension's gone. I know that's right. And don't be late. And don't you come too fast. Greg Dorsey, what's going on, sir? Baby, yeah. And don't be late. My starship. And he did his own background vocals. Wonder where he got that from. Probably playing behind Mr. Marvin Gaye. Yep, played and recorded with Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, and the Dramatics. Before working, he'd been before playing with Miles Davis, he was touring with Stevie Wonder. And Miles Davis saw the young Henderson performing at the Copacabana in New York and reportedly said to Wonder, simply, I'm taking your fucking bass player. And that was it. Yep. Known for his ballads. And don't you come too fast. To come too fast. Mm-mm. He lived in Dallas, Georgia. Interesting. From Yazoo City, Mississippi. I'm sending you a Valentine. It's okay. And I always sending a Valentine, sending a Valentine. Eli Fontaine, a Valentine. Doesn't reach you. It's okay. Michael won't do. Sending a Valentine. Hey, he had no hits on that album. You could let me in your heart. You're a cricket. I love this song. Not even gonna try to sing it. You. Unless you want me to. Cloudy, I can't come. He also did an album called Bedtime Stories. How about that? Yeah, wonder where he got that from. Anyway. Love you, even though we may get wet. I'll kiss your face again and catch a trolley speeding across the sky with just enough room for you and I. Let me love you. Let me love you. Let me love you. I feel, what you feel. Ooh, baby. Unless you want me to. I can't come. Speaking of Eddie Levert, just ran across this. Let me check this out here. Oh, oh, ba-da-ba-doo. Yeah. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 ba-da-ba-da. I got excited when I first heard that you wanted to meet me. How can I refuse? Hmm. Not until I met you. A while when I go, me back until I met you. Hey, hey, hey. I'm yours. Take me. I'm yours. I'm yours. Sugar, 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 sugar. Wasn't lost today. Brown eyes converted me for me. For you. Take my place. Yeah. I was free. I was free. Without you being there. Lay with you and just be my girl. Be my girl. Be my girl. Oh, be my girl. Oh, baby. In a desperate way. They don't mind. Came true. Got me dreaming. Want you being there. All righty then. Be my girl. Head to the city. All right. A song that he wrote, recorded himself, and also for the Dramatics. It was a big hit for them as well. Be My Girl from Michael Henderson in tonight's foreplay. He also played behind Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, the Dramatics, and played with Miles Davis. Miles at one time heard him, playing somewhere. And Miles told Stevie, he said, I'm taking your effing bass player. And he did. Of course, I got a chance to, in the early days of Facebook, I got a chance to talk to him. And man, great guy. I said, one day when I get married, I want to sing Let Me Love You to my bride. He said, let me know, I'll be there. But to back me up, because I'll be like, that is one song that is hard to sing, I tell you. Anyway, wrapping up foreplay on Michael Henderson, happy heavenly birthday to him. July 7th would have been his birthday. All right. Here's a song that I remember dancing off of when I was a teenager. We used to have sock ops over at South Shore High School. And at one point, I started DJing some of those sock ops. And I remember this song just like it was yesterday. Here's One Way featuring Al Hudson and Lost Inside of You on Bedtime Stories. Don't know what to do. Retain. On your love. Y'all still with me? Thank you very much. Baby. True love. So Marvin Gaye wasn't gay. Barry isn't white. Joe Texas isn't from Texas, and Prince wasn't related to any royalty. That's about right. That's about. Joe Tex is from Texas, though. Joe Tex. Wait a minute, let me check. But I do believe he's from Abilene, Rogers, Texas. Joseph Arrington Jr. Joe Tex. Joseph Arrington Jr. Why are you wearing a bracelet that looks like you were released from a military hospital? Because I can't get it off. I can't get it off. Mm, mm, mm. Oh, Lord. Mm, mm, other man. Mm. Toast to the other man. Toast. Mm-mm. Always thought that song was longer than that. Toast to the other man. Al Hudson, One Way, right here on Bedtime Stories. As we wind down, I tell you, I still can't get this bracelet off. Troy said, Troy said, why are you wearing a bracelet that looks like you were released from a military hospital? He said, I can't get it off. Anyway, it is your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories. And I'm going to get this bracelet off if it takes me all night. Well, maybe not all night, but, maybe half the night. Here's the first of two in a row from Glenn Jones. Bring back your love. Suddenly. Oh, George Jones, yes. Come back to him. I'm not gonna cut it. I refuse to lose this bracelet. And it's funny because they was like, "Oh, you had backstage passes? You know, those were like $200 a piece." I'm like, "Oh, I ain't cutting this bracelet off." From from Grubhub, yeah. I ain't cutting this joker off. Woo! Almost, guys. Russell Baker. You're gonna wear it. Shake and bake. Yes, I was. I was backstage. As you can see, I'm still wearing my bracelet and wearing it proudly too. Somebody said, "Man, backstage was $200." I'm like, "It was? Oh, I didn't know. Was I not supposed to be backstage or something?" You know, folks get really indignant. How did you get backstage? Who is you? Anyway, so Russ, did you have a good time there? I mean, it was, man, from where I was standing and sitting, I was having a great time. So I hope you did too. And of course, nobody got hurt. You are the doctor. Yes, it was epic. Yes, that was the word I was looking for. It was absolutely epic. That is the absolutely the correct word for it. It was epic. I couldn't believe it. At one point, I was almost in tears because I saw so many people, and when Jesse stood up, I almost lost it. I've known I've known Jesse for years. And back in the day when I was, you know, a younger DJ, they used to call me, uh, I used to call myself Lons Greer, Alonzo Lons, because it rhymed with Fonz. So I would say Lons Greer playing the music you want to hear. And ever since then, Jesse and Wayne and Kirk Townsend have always called me Lons. They're the only three people that call me Lons Greer, not Al Greer, but Lons, Al Lonzo. So, but like I said, when Jesse stood up, I was like, man, it was worth standing in the rain. It sure was, you know. And I played a few of his songs today on VON, and we basically talked about it. Well, not all day, but some of the talk shows talked about it. Um, Matt McGill, who was there, he talked about it, and of course, Tiva Buchanan and Darlene Hill brought me in to talk about it, and put my 2 cents in, and I appreciate it when they let me talk, because it ain't my show. I'm just the lowly engineer. So every now and then when people let me talk on their shows, I feel like, well, thank you. You know, People are like, why is Al Greer there? Shouldn't he be doing the B sides? Yeah, I should be, and I will be at midnight. So, but it was the greatest show of people, and nobody got hurt. If they did, you didn't hear about it. If people you know had an argument or whatever, you didn't hear nothing about it. It was a beautiful, like Russ said, it was epic. It was a beautiful display of African Americans and some white folks just getting together and enjoying the music. And that's it. That's all it was. It was a music fest, unlike Lollapalooza or anything else. It's house music and house heads coming together. And they did like short sets, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, and they got in and got out, and then the next DJ went on. It's like they had all their equipment was just set up. I was so impressed by the equipment setup. You know, each one of them had their own you know their own stuff that they DJ'd with, and it was just, I was like, wow, this is, just plug your hard drive in and start playing, and it was beautiful. It was, man. I stood by one of those speakers and almost got a heart attack. The bass was just thumping, boy. I looked up under the stage and saw all those amplifiers and saw those big generators that were in the back. I'm like, man, this is what it's all about. And everybody was there. I mean, Robin Robinson was there. The mayor was there. Attorney Kim Fox was there. I mean, just everybody. Anybody who's anybody was there. Just to show that they were house heads. The mayor was there. He threatened to get on the ones and twos. I was like, let him play. For so long. Glenn Jones, who rocked the 16th Ward Alderman Joanne Thompson's Summerfest one year. Oh man, he tore it up, man. I miss Joanne Thompson. This alderman that we have now, she don't like me. I don't know what it is. I got a picture in the background here. Stephanie Coleman does not like me. Watch, she gonna call me tomorrow. Oh, I didn't forget about you. Yeah, okay. Every time she has a music fest, I'm never included in it. Now, when Joanne Thompson was here, she was like, "Al, you emceeing my fest, right?" I'm like, "Are you asking me or telling me?" This is a lady that carried a gun on her hip. I was like, I'm gonna be there, right? She said to me once, and I can share this with you. When I got married the first time, and it didn't work out, she said, "See, your ass should have married me." I miss her. Joanne Thompson, rest in peace, alderman of the 16th Ward. Here's Phyllis Hyman and Michael Henderson once again. Can we just fall in love all over again? Can we all just get along? What's up to Russ, Shake and Bake Baker? Can we fall in love again? Mm-hmm. Oh, Lord. But yep, this, this one wristband was worth $200. You think I'm gonna tear it up, cut it, whatever? Nope. I'm gonna cut the little thingy off, and that's about it. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna put it around this microphone, make something out of it. So, but whoo, man, I have never seen such a crowd. Ugh. It's only worth something prior to or during the show. Backstage isn't worth anything these days after the show is done. Thank you, Troy. I'm trying to break free. Wow, is that it? I guess I'm done. Michael Henderson, Phyllis Hyman. Can't we fall in love again? It's going to do it for me, Al Greer. Thank you so much for staying up with me. To Russell Baker, to Lawana, also to, let's see, who else was checking me out tonight? Chef Greg Dorsey, Pat Westbrook, Hazel Honey Greer, Phyllis Malloy Bender, Atiba K. Buchanan, Sharon Hightower. That's why I just say Miss Hightower. I always mess her name up. Pretty name, pretty lady. Nicole, Nikki, LS, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you all. Thank you so much. Greg Beasley, also to just everybody. DJ Carl Dobbins, even though he ain't send me no money. Fahim Manure, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. He said, thank you for sharing Theo Huff at the ETA Theater. That was great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And just everybody, thank you so much. Charge it to my head and not to my heart. LaTanya Lynn Garrett, Miss Hollywood, yeah. Greg Beasley, my daughter Brianna. I guess that's everybody. Ronnie, Lady G. That's it. And of course, last but not least, to Trish. Thank you, Tweety. I appreciate you. Till next time, blue skies, green lights, and peace. Talk to you tomorrow. You too, Lawana. Lawana. Hey, boom, boom, boom. Nighty-night, everybody. Appreciate you all so much. So much. So much indeed. All right. Peace out. You too, Troy. And of course, to Tits McGee, who's still on vacation. Am I going to see Morris Day? Yes.